I'm trying to get to a game 6. And Wardell back.
That is the plan.
That was Gary Payton Jr. and Ant during the Wolves Game 3 win. Gary letting Ant know the Warriors are hoping to stay alive until Curry can get back. Jay, do we think the Warriors will force a Game 6?
I think they have a legitimate chance today, and it all starts with Jimmy Butler. Look, I'm going to say this. Anthony Edwards, that dunk that we just showed that he had over Kevon Looney, he does not get that dunk if Draymond Green is in the game. Draymond Green had that foul that Steve Kerr challenged. It got overruled. They lost their challenge on it. But it was the wrong call. It was not a foul. Draymond Green in that game, he's not getting that dunk, and he's not finding his rhythm offensively. And the speed of the game was faster. I think tonight is a must-win scenario. I think Jimmy Butler gets one. He gets one win without Steph Curry.
All right, let's go to the East. The Pacers came out in Game 4 red hot as they built a 44-point lead over the Cavs before settling for an 80-30 halftime margin. They would go on to win 129-109, but the biggest thing coming out of the game, Cavs star Donovan Mitchell missing the second half after being ruled out because of a left ankle. Cavs coach Kenny Atkinson said Mitchell will receive an MRI today. He has, quote, no idea about Mitchell's availability for Game 5 on Tuesday. All right, Wendy, I'll start with you. What do you make of Mitchell's injury?
Well, first off, I just want to say the Pacers were absolutely brilliant in this game. And the Pacers, since January 1st, 41-16, which is the kind of winning that a 59-win team would have. And so you look at this series and you say, well, one team's way better than the other team. Actually, there's not that much difference between them, and the Pacers are playing great. But one thing I will say is, no matter what happens, the Cavs are not going to have any chance in this series if Donovan Mitchell is going to be missing games or game. And they can say it's an ankle. That does not look like an ankle injury to me. Okay, but I'm not a doctor. I'm not there. They had some initial testing last night. They're going to have an MRI today. He was being bothered by a calf injury earlier in this series, and I suspect he was being bothered by it because the workload that they've asked him to do with the other injured players has been enormous. He came into this game averaging 41 points in this series. And I will also say this. The Pacers dominated the Cavs physically and mentally in this game. The Cavs are going to have to look themselves in the mirror and think about how they mentally approach this game. But anybody, including many teams who have won championships, can go into a road playoff game and get boat raced. It happens. The reason the Cavs are in trouble in this series is because they botched the end of Game 2, which is one of the worst collapses you will ever see. If they don't do that, despite their injuries, it's 2-2. Instead, it's 3-1, and now they've got Donovan Mitchell in an MRI machine.
Well, we can look at it that way. I don't. Number one, if they had won Game 2 and not botched it, they might not have won Game 3 because the level of urgency that they came into Game 3 with being down 0-2 may not have been there, and the level of lackadaisical approach on the part of Indiana might not have been there if they had lost Game 2. They were up 2-0 coming back to their home court, and Rick Carlisle just raked them through the coals after they lost Game 3 because of the manner in which they did so, emphasizing the importance of rebounding and beyond. But here's the thing. Mad Dog Russo was right. He said Cleveland has that of a regular season team to me written all over them. Whatever you're seeing from them in the regular season, I don't believe them to be that team in the postseason. And that is how they have looked against the Indiana Pacers. We can slice it any way we want to. And so for now, it's like this season is on the brink. They're down 3-1 in this series. There is no reason to believe that the Cleveland Cavaliers are going to come back from this. If Donovan Mitchell comes back, you go back to Cleveland, you win a Game 5. Nobody believes you're going to come back to Indiana with Indiana having the opportunity to close you out, and they ain't going to win Game 6. That's how this series has looked. We've seen Indiana, their shooting prowess, their athleticism, their ability to run the floor, how they prioritized rebounding last night. And they destroyed Cleveland yesterday. They took their heart. That's how bad it looked. We've seen people get beat down before, just a bad night. That's not how this looked. This looked a lot worse than that. We've seen teams lose by 40. We ain't seen them losing by 40 in the first half. In the first half. That's what we saw. So to me, I just think about what Mad Dog Russo said. That's where I'm coming with it, Jay.
How shocking is Indiana's dominance to you?
I mean, it's last night. made me feel like they could be a world championship team for the first time. Actually seeing it, I was like, okay. But I think I'm more disappointed in Cleveland.
Yeah.
And the reason why is I get 3 out of their 6 top rotational players were injured in multiple games, and Garland's been battling the toe, and then Donovan at halftime. But last night, that was embarrassing.
Yeah.
That was embarrassing. And listening to Kenny Atkinson after the game talking about, we weren't prepared and we got, steamrolled. I'm like, how is that possible? That's effort. That's energy. That's attention to detail in a game of that magnitude. So, look, I think at the end of the day, you can always chalk it up by saying injuries play into that. But Game 4 was extremely disappointing to me with just the effort they came out with at the beginning of the game. That wasn't a Game 4 type effort from a team that was down, that needed a must-win scenario. This series is a chicken Caesar wrap to me. It's done.
The Pacers are number 1 field goal percentage in this postseason. Field goal percentage, mid-range field goal percentage, and 3-point shooting percentage. Pacers are number 1.
Wendy,
the thing about the Pacers, guys, they want you to play at a certain pace. I know it's a pun. If they get to play at their pace, they're going to be very hard to beat. This series has been about who gets to control the pace. In Game 3, it got slowed down. The Pacers ran onto the court with their foot on the gas. And whether they close the Cavs out in Game 5 or whatever, the Pacers going forward, if they control the pace, I don't care who they're playing, they're going to have a chance.
They got at least 5 players averaging 14 points a game this postseason.
There is something to say about guards who are slightly smaller, who have larger frames that absorb a lot of contact. Like, can those be superstar guards? I think they can be, but their probability of getting injured because of their physicality is something that you always have to be cautious of. I mean, that's a wild injury for Donovan Mitchell to have. Obviously, his usage was beyond crazy, but just getting worn down over time.
Mm-hmm. All right, when we come back on First Take, the Celtics shined in Game 3 while the Knicks saw gray skies. What chance does New York have to bounce back? Heated debate on the way. And we have much more in our breaking news. How does Giannis being open-minded about the Bucks' future potentially impact the rest of the NBA landscape? We'll break it down. Don't go anywhere.
Chào mừng các bạn đã đến với kênh YouTube của mình. Ngày hôm nay mình sẽ hướng dẫn các bạn cách tô màu sao cho đẹp nhất nhé. Và bây giờ mình sẽ tô màu những sản phẩm. Các bạn hãy lắng xem hết video của mình để mình có động lực ra video nhiều hơn nhé. Mình cảm ơn các bạn. Và bây giờ mình cùng các bạn đi tô màu nhé.
Không làm 3 sản phẩm được rồi. Đây không? Đây.
Mà không. Bóng chạy này nó chạy lên luôn nào đấy nó bảo là đi nữa giấy chuyển ra giấy bóng lấy bóng cái đen đen mua cái loại là trắng mắt đen ấy xuống dài nó kịp mà lúa đẹp quá lần này